to be able to sing. And I was like, well, nobody did that with me. What if I was bad? You were just gonna put that on TV? Like.
Welcome back.
Hi everybody, welcome to Critic Crawl. I'm Kaylin Cobb.
I'm Ramsey Kelly. We haven't introduced ourselves in like 8 episodes. What are you doing?
Well, because every time I listen to a podcast, they do that at the beginning. And I'm like, we never do that. And so if people start listening and they don't know what we're doing, then I don't know.
Welcome.
Now you know.
But we do have 2 people here who actually could use an introduction.
Yes,
so.
we have guests this episode.
We do. Do y'all want to introduce yourselves?
I thought that maybe we would be brought on. You know, I thought that was
we have
a professional thing to do.
That's
Okay, well, I will do the first introduction and you can do the second one. I'm going to do the easy one, so good luck.
What?
We have 2 friends here with us. One is Ben Herman, who is a comedian and actor in LA, also our friend from college. Welcome, Ben.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Thanks for coming.
We also have a new friend, Zach Barrick.
Yes.
Oh, God. I asked him right before the show, and I still messed it up. Zach is a friend of Ben's, so thank you, Ben, for bringing Zach on the show. Very nice to meet you. Zach is actually the lead in the show that we're going to do today. We'll get into that in a little bit, but do we want to do recs and stuff first?
Yeah, you're just jumping right in. You don't want to just chat.
You don't want to do any, like, banter?
Oh.
You don't want to just, like, hang out for a
Well,
second?
I mean, that's what I meant. We could do the recs in, like, the beginning part.
The hanging out comes before the rec.
You could do both at the same time.
We had some mic malfunctions, so I feel kind of weird because I'm not looking at Ben and Zach at all.
I know, now Randy and I are just staring at each other.
We have to look at each other because Kaylin and I are sharing a microphone.
Womp womp.
It's very intimate.
I was gonna say, good chemistry.
You would think after, what, a year? We've been doing this for a year.
Have we?
We started in February 2021.
Dang.
Like a year and a half.
Wow.
Wow.
You guys, we made it a year and a half. We're still doing it.
Thanks
And now
for
look
making
at you now in Conan O'Brien's podcast studio. It's really cool in here. So many pictures of celebrities.
All
There's
the
an
things.
Evian vending machine in the corner that only has Evian. I love it in here.
Thank you so much. This is yeah, we really made it.
We had a little bit of a rough start too because Ramsey had COVID.
I
so
did.
we didn't know this
We
was
almost
actually gonna
didn't get
happen.
to record today.
But she's all better.
Yeah, I was never really sick, I would just like to say. I just had, like, allergy symptoms for, like, a day. COVID's stupid.
But then you tested positive for like a week.
Well,
Insane.
yeah.
I guess it's not insane. We knew that was going to happen probably, but it still sucked.
Yeah, we
Have
had
you
a
guys
friend...
had COVID?
No. We had a friend who came down with COVID, though, and, like, she was better in, like, 3 days.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just
actually
a
better?
different
Like
flavor.
tested
negative?
negative, like,
Yeah.
3 days later.
Yeah.
Like, started showing symptoms, was sick for a couple days,
And
then
I think tested
again.
like
Maybe-
negative PCR as well as instant,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah,
it was
no,
sort
like-
of like a double check on it.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Maybe, well, I wonder.
I don't know.
If-
Everybody's different.
Maybe she was positive before she knew she was positive?
So here's a fun story about that.
Oh, are you gonna be really honest
We
right
can
now?
be really
You're
honest,
gonna tell
you
the
know.
truth.
Yeah, we can tell the
Oh,
truth.
I'm
Okay, I'm excited.
The day before that she tested positive for COVID, we sort of had like a kissing party, and nobody else
Hell
got
yeah.
sick.
We
Nobody
went,
else got sick.
Nobody
well,
else got
we
sick.
went back. We're all developmentally stunted, so we went back. So we went back to like middle school and did like a spin the bottle moment, right? That
Yeah,
was kind of
something
it.
like that.
And so and like a bunch
Amazing.
of people were like, "I've never played," and so we played, and then. Yeah, and then just nobody tested positive.
And then
except for
the
So it
next day
wasn't
she's
like
like,
a
"So
full
I have
orgy
no."
intended kissing party.
But
That's
like-
what I'm envisioning.
but like
Well,
we
that's
were.
why I felt like I should clarify, because kissing party really makes it sound like a play
It was
party
like an
that was like
orgy.
really lame.
Listen,
Like
I
the
was trying
lamest
to add
play
a
party
little
ever.
bit of finesse and a little bit of seduction
a
to the
little bit of
podcast,
mystery, you know?
so they don't, they think that we're interesting people and not people who just didn't have anyone interested in them in middle school and high school, and now we can do it now.
And now we're compensating.
Listen, it's relatable. I would also like, that reminded me that last episode we were talking about beat pics, and since then, crawlers and Ben and Zach, Kaylin has been sending me TikToks of feet pic people on TikTok every day.
It hasn't been every day.
Is your algorithm deeply broken now?
I think it must be. And I don't even know how that started. Literally, it probably was listening to us talking about feet pics, and then all of a sudden it was like, here's some TikToks about it, in case you want to know more info on it.
Is it like, are they joke pics, or are they literally just like, these are my feet?
No.
They're,
So
like,
it's
serious.
like people
Like,
who sell pictures of their feet online, and they're explaining how they do it.
Oh, wow.
And like what?
Oh, so it's like educational.
Yeah, like what platforms to use, how much money they make, like whatever. It's intense. It's actually intense.
One girl was like, I made a mistake because I started this as a joke and now I'm making money and I can't stop. And I was like, honestly, that's the only reason I haven't started.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Like what? I just don't. If it wasn't connected to my name, I would do it. That's all I'm saying. But
You could have an
some of
alias.
the,
I mean, you
draw.
could just sell pictures of your feet.
Yeah, but I imagine some of the draw is like them knowing who it's coming from. I mean, I don't know. I
don't
haven't
know.
watched a single of these TikToks.
I'm not a part of that community, so I can't speak on it. I feel like
neither of you
everybody's got
subscribe
something
to
different.
feet pics.
No, we're too busy having
I might
kissing
have to
parties,
go down a
apparently.
rabbit hole because I don't know if I believe that from your kissing parties.
I was going to say, no, we're too busy with the kissing parties to get into feet.
We focus on the other end of the body, okay?
Amazing. Well, no.
Speaking of COVID and feet.
Oh, yeah.
What a mix.
What a wonderful
you know-
Venn diagram that we have
I
just
know.
stumbled into.
Did you know COVID toes is a symptom of COVID? I didn't have it.
What does that
But-
mean?
What is it?
My friend did. It turns your toes like swollen and purple and rashy.
Oof.
What? Is this new? I've never heard of this.
No, it's not new, but I don't want to out her on here, but I'm going to do it anyway. Olivia had her only symptom of COVID was COVID toes.
What?
Wow.
And she sent me pictures and I said, I do not want these.
So that's the wrong way. We don't even need to watch a TikTok video to know. That is the wrong way to do
the wrong way to do
feet
it.
pics. Yeah, non-consensual
Unsolicited
COVID
feet
toes.
pics,
Yeah.
not for it.
Yeah.
Those
Oh,
are like
wow.
punishment feet pics.
Yes.
Which is a whole other kink, I think. It's like you're into, like, you want, it's like a, what is it, like a, what is the word I'm looking for? When they're really mean to you?
Oh,
Degradation.
sadism or like masochism.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking like a degradation kink, but
Oh,
it's like
yeah,
you
yeah.
send
Humiliation.
people, you send
Yeah.
people pictures of your feet, and they're like, "These are disgusting."
Yeah.
What do you
Those
mean?
gross little feet.
What do you mean?
Disgusting feet. And you're getting, instead of them paying you for the feet pics, you're paying them for the degradation.
Someone's gonna rip that audio of Zach Barrick saying "disgusting feet" and it's gonna be everywhere.
I keep forgetting I did a kid show and being like, am I supposed to have like a brand now? Because I don't. And the problem is that like half the people that are watching it are just going to be like the kind of queer people that I think we spend time with anyway. And then the other half are young folks. And I'm like, well, I live in a bubble online, so perhaps I should just exist that way forever. Remain myself.
Remain in the bubble. Don't leave the
Oh,
bubble.
this is what happens when you don't let your publicist like recommend things for you to do, and you just let your friends
And I'm
pull
like,
you
oh,
into
man, I'll
this.
do this thing with you.
Bait you into ruining your whole career.
Well, that's the really funny thing is I did like a really fun interview the other day, and then I was like, that was really fun and like very normal and like kind of boring, I'm gonna be honest. Like, and then I was like, I hope I get to do a fun one. And then I was like, do we have any like audio ones coming up? And she was like, no. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, Ben, I'm so excited for the podcast. Just having to like answer. Not that I don't like doing it or whatever, but you know, it's
No,
nice
I
when you
get
get
it.
to chat.
Yeah.
And it's not like formal and just like
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And I've been
Well,
trying
I
to
didn't think
get
you-
them to let me on the podcast since they started. And I had to bring in a famous person.
It's true. Ben has been like, well, what if I did this? But we only like to have guests when we have a purpose for the guests.
It was very nice.
James has COVID also.
What?
Wow.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
When did this happen?
His roommate this week.
He texted me like a couple days ago and was like, "Ben, I'm stoned and I was thinking of you."
He's probably had COVID when he texted you that.
Excellent. He was 2 forms of delirious. I'm very
Yeah.
very excited.
So him and his roommate are still quarantining. I mean,
At least they're together.
yeah. that's
Are they
true.
sick?
His roommate was sick for like 2 days,
Oh.
and then James has just like had a headache, kind of, but it's kind of normal anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so nothing terrible.
I was kind of, not to be a bitch, but I was kind of hoping one of my roommates would get it too.
So you
So that you
hang
can
out
come
with them.
home.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Instead, I was stuck in my room.
I know, I FaceTimed
At least I
Raven
have
the
a
other day.
dog,
We were
but-
talking about this, and she was like, I got a puzzle, but it's really hard. And I was like, well, it's perfect for COVID. You just have to sit in your room and do the puzzle all the time.
Yeah, I've done a good amount of it. Have you seen it?
Yeah, Penny almost knocked it over.
Yeah, I was afraid of that, which is why I moved the table when I went inside.
Nice.
But actually, I got the puzzle the same time as Tenley got the puzzle, who I also kind of hoped got COVID so that she could come hang out.
Ramsey's just hoping everyone's going to get COVID.
Listen, not at this point. Now nobody can get it because I'm back in the world. And so Tenley and I got the same puzzle at the same time and are competing.
Are you winning?
I don't know. I was very far ahead. And then all of a sudden she FaceTimed me and she was somehow very far ahead.
Do you have like a piece counter in real time?
Yeah.
Counting down from like 3,000 or whatever it is? What's
Yeah,
a
they're
lot
like
for a
little
puzzle?
elves that are counting on my wall consistently.
That'd be creepy.
I don't know. Could be fun.
You could
Like
probably
Firewall?
live stream like puzzling.
Honestly.
Oh, for sure.
People would people watch anything. Literally anything.
Yeah.
Feet pics.
You should honestly, like, that's a dumb thing that I just said as a bit, but you could probably do that. Like, if you wanted to live stream yourself on YouTube, it's like Ramsey the Puzzler, and like just like literally make puzzle, like put puzzles together with like calming music, and then just like talk about your day or whatever. You'd probably get like a following.
Seriously. You should do
Honestly. But
Try
then
it.
I'd have to always do a puzzle.
Yeah. Or you just do it like, like for 2 hours on Sunday or something like that.
Oh, yeah. And then I could show feet pics.
Yeah. And then like for
Well,
the
that's
next 2
like-
hours you lead
That's
into
like
the-
your supporter. Like you go, okay, it's time for an ad break. And it's just
it.
Or
just feet.
you go and make a custom puzzle of your feeds, and then you put it together.
Oh, that's like the giveaway when you get to a certain amount of subscribers.
Yeah.
You go, okay,
That's the giveaway.
tag your friends in this Instagram post, share it on your story, and then I'm gonna randomly select someone. They get
A
4.
framed.
Someone
Yeah,
will
they
get
get a-
half a puzzle with the left foot, and the other
Yeah.
will get half a puzzle with the right foot,
Yeah,
and then you can
yeah.
put them together.
Wow, guys, we're coming up with such good
This
ideas.
is why you have guests on the show.
Yeah.
You need fresh perspectives. Look at all these new business ventures.
I love it. Well, with that,
Can't. With that.
have no
Recently
excuse.
watched the new movie Gold with Zac Efron that came out this year. Did you guys see that?
No, I have not.
I had no idea what it was about. I just really like Zac Efron. And so I watched it, and it was basically like a survival movie. And it was okay, but the end got a little rough, and literally I screamed out loud at one point. I watched it with Dylan and Megan, which are my two roommates, and it's like slow. It's like super slow at the beginning, and then like what happens is he like finds gold, and he's like trying to protect it, and he's in the desert, whatever. But are you guys gonna watch it?
no.
No.
Okay, so there's this.
No one even pretends.
This is
Not
like
gonna watch
huge
it.
heebie-jeebies. Like literally, like I just like still think about it. And I'm like,
I don't like that word.
well, too bad. You used to
Would
get
you
it.
say it gives you the?
Gives you the creeps?
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, so there's a scorpion that's like that they show at the beginning, and he like flicks it away, like whatever, right?
Okay.
So then at the end, he's like dying basically because he can't survive, and there's this huge sandstorm, right? And then he gets impaled with a branch, and he takes the branch out, and he's like laying on the ground. He looks so rough, just like burned, boils, just whatever. And he's laying on the ground, and he's trying to like, like hold the blood in because he took the branch out, and he's like looking at this gash in his
Oh,
side.
I feel like I know what you're
And
gonna
the
say.
scorpion comes up, and it's like, oh no, and then it starts running, and then it goes inside the
No,
hole.
I knew it.
No.
I knew
I
it.
literally screamed, and I was like, no! I was like, that's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. I was like, I love horror movies and like thrillers, and like I can do gore, but that for me was just like, I was like, that is so disgusting. I can't. And it happened right at the end, and then the movie ended, and I was like, I feel terrible. I never want to feel like that again. Oh my gosh. And then he
Okay.
gets eaten by dogs, so it's just like,
So don't recommend?
the end is rough. Well, if you're listening to this, yeah, you heard the whole movie anyway, so probably not.
Yeah, I have
Wait.
lots of context for this plot, and I know exactly what's going on in this movie Gold now. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. I also watched the new movie Spiderhead that just came out on Netflix with Miles
Why are you
Teller.
watching a lot of like creepy crawly things?
Spiderhead's not creepy crawly.
It has the word spider in it.
So
I
does
know, but that's
Spider-Man.
not it.
That has creepy
But
crawlies.
it was actually
Bites
it was a good movie. I would definitely recommend that.
What is
one.
Spiderhead?
It's about this. It's a prison, but not really. But people can decide if they get arrested, if they want to go to this place where they have to have like experiments done on them, and they're giving them drugs and seeing how it affects them, and Chris Hemsworth is like the main guy who's like doing the whole thing. But it's like they have their own room, they can walk around. It's not like a jail. So people opt to go there instead of actual jail because why would you not? And yeah, just kind of that's all I'm going to say about it because it's pretty good, so I would definitely recommend it. I also started watching this show because I have to watch teen shows sometimes to get like scenes for my boss to type them up for her classes. And I started watching this teen show called First Kill. It is still in the top 10 in Netflix, which is why I started watching it. And it is very, very cheesy.
I've heard that.
Very and it's an interesting concept, and it's like a Romeo and Juliet kind of concept, so it's like not like crazy new or anything, but it's very cheesy, and there's a lot of like fighting in it that's not the best, and it's been in top 10 for like 2 weeks at least, which is wild.
So I heard some people having discourse on it, and by people I do mean my roommates. I said earlier I do live in a bubble, so I like to call discourse kitchen talk. But basically, like, we were just talking about the mixed reception to it. Like, some people felt really like it sucked that people didn't like it because it's like it's two women that are in love, right? And like I believe one of them is of color, and like people were like really excited about it, and then like everybody else was like, oh, well, it's really cheesy and whatever. And someone online was sort of like, oh, like, we need to come at this with the same energy people are going at Heartstopper with because people really liked that. And someone else was like, yeah, but also we're allowed to want things that are well made, that are representation. Like, we need to find the balance of, like, there is a place for, like, camp or cheesiness, and, like, we can all root for that and enjoy it. And then also have people who are, like, really into arty stuff and want that. Like, you know, that, like, what we consider highbrow and lowbrow, like, maybe do away with those words and be like, sometimes we want something cheesy, sometimes we want something authentic. And if more of it exists, we wouldn't have to go, this thing is good and is going to stay on the top 10 for a month, or, you know, whatever. Or maybe just a lot of people like camp. But I do suspect there is some element of, like, we just really want to see ourselves and, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, so those are my 3 recs.
I have 2. One I recommended last time. RuPaul All Winners is still on.
Oh my god, yeah.
Which is actually the reason I know exactly where I got COVID. I got COVID at Drag Bingo watching RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars.
You're like, worth it.
That's a good story. It's a really good story, though. If you're gonna get COVID, I feel like that's
the way to do it.
Yeah, exactly. This moment. And then The Summer I Turned Pretty on Amazon Prime is out right now, and it is based on a book. Apparently there's 3 books, but it's based on the same book of the author that wrote another rom-com. It has 3 movies. It's on Netflix. It is like an I'm gonna be so mad.
You're gonna remember it halfway through like our discussion of the
I'm gonna remember it tomorrow.
Ramsey, you're the editor. You can splice that in whenever. You
I
just
know.
say, well, I remembered it right now.
To All the Boys I Loved Before. It's the same author as To All the Boys I Loved Before. And it's actually really good. I watched it in a day.
2.
What?
There's 3 of those movies? I thought there was only 2.
I think there's 3.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And those are my 2 recs. But I finished The Summer I Turned Pretty in like a day. And
is it like thriller or just like romantic? What did you say? Did you say what it was?
It's like a rom-com.
Rom-com. Okay, cool. Yeah. Who's in it? Anybody? Like?
No one that I would know.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But it's really good. Amazon Prime. If you like a good rom-com.
Yeah.
Summer I Turned Pretty.
Have you guys been watching anything exciting, new, good?
I've been watching The Boys season 3 on Amazon Prime, which is, I think it's about as good as seasons 1 and 2. It's holding pretty steady. It's kind of what you would expect if you know what what The Boys is. You talked about the scorpion leaping into a guy's
Still can't.
thing. Well, there's
Brought up old trauma.
I don't know that there's too much episode. There's a slight spoiler for The Boys season 3. A hamster digs into a guy's eyeball, so
Yikes.
it reminded me of that.
Gross.
I've been watching Kenobi on Disney Plus, which is okay. It's
You guys
genuinely
didn't see, but his facial expression did not really say.
okay. So so here's the thing. I genuinely think it's a lot of fun. Like, I'm having fun with it. I think it's a fun little show, but like, there's just a lot of things in it that are we have to do it this way because if we don't, Star Wars can't happen.
Okay,
like,
is this like it's a prequel to what is
so it's
this?
set 10 years after Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
And Obi-Wan essentially just like has to go on a little adventure, like, but he's supposed to be in hiding, so he's trying to hide while also going on a little adventure. And there's things where it's like there's a lot of chase scenes that don't make a lot of sense because they need to like expand for time, which I don't know why they're trying to fill so bad in a series that's only 6 episodes long. Like, there's a lot of filler for a series that's only 6 episodes long. I was like, how did you not have enough to work with here? But it's fun. I think Ewan McGregor is a lot of fun. Little Leia is a lot of fun, but there's a lot of things that was like, yeah, you just had to. There's a part where they're trying to escape from like an Imperial fortress, and Leia is just kind of in Obi-Wan's coat, and she's this huge hump on the side of his head, and he's just like walking through, just like looking left and right, and like everyone is just like, this seems fine as he's just walking around. I'm like, it's it's a little camp, I think, but it's very funny. But yeah, there's things in it that I'm like, well, it's okay. It's only one more episode.
Zach, have you been watching anything fun?
Yeah, well, I just caught up on Hacks, which I love and highly
I
recommend.
need to watch season 2.
I haven't watched season 2 either.
We should have done season 2.
I am so sorry.
How dare you?
Ruined everything. We have to start all over.
No, it's totally
It actually happened on his show. If you listen carefully to
Stop it.
episode 3.
Wait, is that real?
No.
I was about to say, editors.
No, so I really like Hacks. I love like every actor on it. I really enjoy the way they like kind of explore the relationship between Jean Smart's character and Ava, and I just also like love Jean Smart a lot. So I don't know, it's really made me like fall in love, and I think that like it is such a good show that you don't expect to be a feel-good show, but is a feel-good show. Like, I was like, this show will not comfort me, but then I was like, wait, it's comforting me. And then I just watched, well, so I had a friend in town from Singapore, and we were kind of like doing TV recommendations with each other, and I showed them the other two, so I just rewatched it, and it is still very good, and I think it comes back in September, so I just encourage people to watch it because it's like the funniest show. It's on HBO.
And it's called The Other Two?
The Other Two, and it's like about these two siblings who have a little brother who kind of Justin Bieber's. Like, he gets really famous on a YouTube video, and they have to acclimate and like deal with like where they feel like they are in life, and it's really funny. But I just think of it because it's coming back soon, and its first season was on Comedy Central, and I didn't know that many people that watched it, and like I think the second season picked up steam, so I really hope the third season does something fun as well. And then Fire Island, the movie, awesome. It's like
I did watch that.
the Pride and Prejudice adaptation, but it's like gay men on Fire Island, and it rocks. It's so fun. It was so fun. Like,
I loved it.
What is it? Did you say it's on Netflix?
That one's on Hulu.
I was totally thinking it was the Fire Festival in my
I
head.
literally thought the same
And I was like, oh,
thing.
interesting.
I
And
saw-
you're like, and then you started explaining. I was like, that's not what I was thinking.
That's not what it was.
That was
I
my
thought
first
the
thought
same
too. The first time I saw that movie was because Patrick Hill posted it on Facebook,
Oh,
a
okay.
review of it, and I was also like, Firefest. And then I watched it and I was obsessed.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Yeah, I was really happy because the writer is someone I followed on Twitter for a while. He's like a comedian who did a show, like a weird mini show with this other comedian I like, Patty Harrison, but it's Joel Kim Booster wrote it, I believe.
I love Joel Kim
Yeah, he's
Booster.
so funny. And then it was like him and like a bunch of actors who I think like all knew each other, but I haven't gotten to see in a lot of things, like Matt Rogers and Bowen Young, and who I like. I think they do a podcast called Less Cultural Lisa's, and so it was just really fun, and like Margaret Cho's in it. I just highly recommend it because it's really fun to see. Like, that was like in the heyday of like rom-coms. They were always adaptations. Like 10 Things I Hate About You is
Yeah.
Taming of the
Taming of the
Shrew.
Shrew.
And, she's the
She's
man
the
at
Man
the
at
12th
12th
night.
Yeah.
And I really
Oh,
missed
fuck,
that,
that
and I was
movie?
really
Yeah.
excited to see like that, but also a gay one because like there aren't like a ton of good gay rom-coms, and I was like, this is actually like maybe the best one I've seen, so I highly recommend
Oh,
it.
good. Okay,
Yeah.
I
I'll
also
watch it.
recommend
Now
it.
it's stuff to watch.
Yeah.
I'm flying to Hawaii on Saturday, so I'm gonna download
You have a
this
lot of
and
time.
watch that.
You're not just gonna watch Horrible Bosses again?
Just no. I mean, I can if nothing else works. I have it downloaded on my computer. I've seen it a million times because if I get bored on a plane, I'm like, I'll just watch it again. Never disappoints though.
I watched the new Space Jam on a plane, but I didn't have any headphones, so I had to watch it
Oh.
without audio and only subtitles.
That sounds
And how was
awful.
that?
It doesn't
How
sound
was
like you
that?
watched the movie, really.
I read it all. It was like, and honestly, it was probably better because it's not a very good movie. I don't think sound would really have saved it.
They have headphones on planes. You can ask for that.
I don't know. I just didn't think about it.
That's
Like
like
all my
I
It's
I'll
way
read it.
funnier that he didn't have
I just
headphones.
wanna
Yeah, it
all my
is.
headphones are like Bluetooth and stuff, and you
Yeah.
need the
Yeah.
corded ones.
Yeah. I have one pair of corded headphones
These are my
for
one pair.
airplanes.
These are my
Oh,
ones.
I guess I also have these.
The ones you're
I don't-
currently wearing.
Yeah, but these are my podcast headphones. I don't take these on a plane.
No, I take mine on the
You silly.
Unless you're gonna do a podcast on a plane,
And
a
that-
plane
A
cast.
plane cast.
We should have done that on the way back from the wedding. What were we thinking?
Oh, that would have been funny.
Instead, we almost missed our flight for Whataburger.
Worth it. Worth it.
Is that worth the hype, Whataburger?
Yes.
It depends on who you ask.
I know some people don't like it, but I am obsessed.
What about
I
you?
like it.
I think it's fast food.
Okay.
It is fast food.
That's good fast
It's
food.
valid, yeah.
I think it's
Have you-
fine.
It's better than In-N-Out. I don't understand the hype. I don't understand why In-N-Out always has the longest line I've ever seen in my goddamn
I-
life.
I've
really
always
does.
said it's a joke that's not very funny, but I continue to tell it that I wish Californians would agree that In-N-Out is not very good, so I can eat there more often.
Seriously, no.
Speaking of lines that are insane, did y'all see that the new Cane's opened in Burbank?
Oh my god.
It finally opened.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
Megan Dillon
I
was
promised I would
like-
take Caitlin there, and she was like, I was like, Cane's is the best like
Can you just
fast
get like
food.
a gallon of the sauce?
Right?
You
just
can.
can't forever.
But it's also mayo and Thousand Island
I
dressing.
know.
Like it's not that hard to make.
I know.
It is so good, though.
Yeah.
You could drink it.
Yeah.
I know Megan asked me if I wanted to go with them, and I was like, I shouldn't. Because we were already going out for dinner, and so I was like, I'm going to be good and say no. And then I regretted the decision.
Yeah. Why
'Cause
would
now I
you do
haven't
that?
had it.
But also,
I
Caitlin
just-
just took me to Dave's Hot Fried Chicken the
Oh,
other day,
yeah.
which is really good.
I've
Also
never
really
had
good.
that.
It is good.
Every hot chicken place in LA, though, I will say has like a very similar logo.
Yeah.
I know Dave's is like pretty well reviewed, but so my brother's friends were in town from like the East Coast, and one of them was like, let's just go to like, there's a food truck and it's got hot chicken and there's a ton of hot chicken out here, let's just go get it.
Yeah.
So they go, and one of my brother's friends is like one of the types of people that's like, you should do that when it's a really bad idea. So Michael was like,
They're
I'm
the
gonna
most fun
get, should
people.
I get the like ghost pepper one? And Joey
my
was like,
gosh.
yeah, I think that's a really good idea.
This is a
And
great
so we
idea.
got it, and he was like, it was like awfully, obviously couldn't eat it. And then
Right.
later that night, he was like, Jake, do you want any chicken? I like can't eat it. And my brother didn't like think to ask why, so he took a bite, and he was like, this is awful, I can't sleep. And then Micah was like, if it makes you feel any better, I ruined my dinner too, so we're both unhappy.
Oh my god. I can't do
Like, that's
this.
terrible.
No. That's somebody can't sleep.
Yeah, no, my brother was like, I felt bad enough to not lay down for like an hour, and I was
Oh
like, oh
my
my
gosh.
god.
That's terrible.
It's like that show, that interview show. I don't know who does it.
Hot ones.
Yeah, where they
Oh,
just
yeah.
Sean Evans.
super hot
Yeah.
chicken while they try to answer questions, and they're
Yeah.
like, people are like crying.
Yeah, it
and,
looks
like,
really uncomfortable.
crazy. Funny idea, but yikes. A big
Yeah.
yikes. All right, cool. Well, should we hop into the show?
Let's do it.
Whoa,
Sorry.
loud. Okay, so this week we're talking about the new animated series on Netflix called Dead End Paranormal Park. The show is about two teens and a talking pug who team up to battle demons at a haunted theme park and maybe even save the world from a supernatural apocalypse. The series follows the story of a group of employees, mainly Barney and Norma, who work at a theme park haunted house during the summer, which might even be a portal to hell. Both are joined by Pugsley and Courtney as they face zombies, game show hosts, witches, and crushes. And we are lucky enough to have the star of the show on the show, welcome again, Zach.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. We're so excited you're here. So the show also stars Emily Osment, which I did not know until literally.
Until you were doing your research? Yeah. Same.
And I was
like, whoa.
I was like,
hey.
And then she plays the like little devil.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I would never know. Yeah. Never know. Anyway, stars Emily Osment, Clinton
Leap, I think.
Leap?
I know Clint better as Coco Peru, the drag queen. So but yes.
Didn't know that.
I've been referring to Pauline as Coco this whole time, and I like just have never bothered to learn how to say Clint's name. But yes, Coco is like a very long careered drag queen out of New York.
Amazing.
With like really and I think really went viral during kind of the Vine like short video boom. Really funny person, excellent actor, obviously. But yeah.
Oh my gosh, amazing! I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, I had no idea.
You love drag queens. So that's gonna be good for you. Now we know that he's on the show.
What?
Also, just a tangent on drag queens. When I was on set, I was working with this makeup artist who worked with a lot of drag queens, and he gave us some names of drag queens in the 80s. And two of the best ones were Rachel Attention and Diana Cancer.
Oh!
I was laughing so hard.
Have you ever, as a fan of Drag Race, thought of what your drag name would be?
I
Such a good
have,
question.
but I don't remember what I landed on.
What about you guys?
Have an answer?
Yeah, Gretchen Wieners, like, but like the Jewish Gretchen Wieners, like the
Jewish
Gretchen
Wieners, yeah. I always thought that would be really fun.
I did start to think about it, but then I heard Diana Cancer and was just like, I'm never
Like,
gonna.
you're
You're never gonna be
I'm
able to
never
that.
gonna
You'll
be
never
able
be
to
that
really
funny.
discouraged.
I'm sorry, yeah. Very true.
Oh my gosh, I've never thought about it. Maybe I'll think about it next time. I'll come with what my drag queen name would be.
Okay.
And you do the same. Try to remember yours.
Okay. I'll probably have to come up with a new one. I really don't think I'm going to remember it.
So I actually have some questions.
Yes.
Obviously for you. So I've never done an animated show, obviously. So did you record it in 2021?
So I got the job the week things shut down, which was really crazy. And I was like, is it still happening? I don't know how any of this works. I had never done animation before that. So I had absolutely no clue. And it is not in the least helped by the fact that I have Jewish parents, grandparents being like, is this real? Is this a thing? Are you sure? And just like, yeah, it was so, yeah. So we got it, and then we did a table read on Zoom, which was basically the only time the whole cast has been like on a thing together.
Because I was gonna ask if you were like ever like in the same.
Yeah. So my understanding of animation is that's how it can be regardless. So I think it can be very remote, right? Like an animated show I like a lot that still records is Archer, and I was like kind of watching them talk about it once, and you know a bunch of them are in New York, a bunch of them are in LA, and then they just record and got to know each other, I think, through table reads. We only had one. So, and I don't know if that's normal, it might be.
Did you do the whole series in one go?
No, we didn't do it all at once. We did one episode, and then we never got on Zoom again. So I know a couple of the people in it better than others. So like our showrunner and I have gotten quite close. A couple of the writers and I know each other quite well, as well as like some of the execs at Netflix. Really good friends with my co-star as well, Cody, who plays Norma. So you kind of find, I think, like if it's important to you and it's a project you really care about, sometimes you're really drawn naturally to meeting the people.
Yeah,
right.
And like Cody and I, our characters play such good friends that it was like it feels really silly not to know each other.
Yeah.
So like I think she initiated the conversation, was just like, hey, just saying hi, and I was like, oh, thank God, because I wanted to, but I didn't want to be weird about it, and like I didn't know how this all worked. So yeah, that was really neat.
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
That's so cool.
So when you guys like recorded for the show, were you guys both on? No, you just did it.
I did my lines by myself with our director. So there's a director of like the show who does like the animation direction, and there's someone who does voice direction. We had this amazing voice director, Christy Reed, who I love dearly and really hope I get to work with in the future. Because she's just like could tell, I think, at the beginning that I was nervous, and then like just really helped me find Barney and was like very patient and gave really clear instructions.
That's great.
really got the essence of the show, and I think was a really safe person to work with. But so that was really cool. So it would always be her. If I was really lucky, we'd get someone from Netflix, but that almost never happened. So it was always us, and then Hamish, our showrunner, often producers as well, sometimes the episode writer, but not always. In fact, I don't know how often that happened. But it was just like a blur because they were like, here are all the people that are on. And I'm like, I don't know what you just said.
You're like, what?
And I was like, I know the person I need to know is like Hamish. And then I was like really afraid of him because he's British. That's it. It's just because he's British. Like I was so intimidated. I was like, he's like talented. He wrote this incredible. I read the comic books for my callback, and I was like, he wrote this incredible like world. He did this really great world building. These characters are so well fleshed out. So I was like so like flabbergasted, and I was like, oh, I just like don't know if I'm doing a good job. You know, it's just this is somebody's baby, and I was like, I don't want to flub it. It's like his whole life's work.
Well, if it's your first animation gig too, you're like, I don't know if I'm doing this right. What is happening? Yeah. Yeah. So it was neat, and it was very cool. But it was like usually just like more or less behind the camera folks, and then me. For I don't know what they call that in animation, behind the mic folks, but like
just like the technical.
Yeah, the technical side of things, and then me. Yeah.
So have you, I know some actors don't watch themselves. Have you seen the show?
Multiple times.
Okay, I was about to say.
Probably helped a little bit by the fact that it is not me, because I have watched things with me in it, and I've been like, but like, I really haven't had like this media part before, so I was like, I don't know what it'll be like, but I do such a different voice. That's not true. I do a voice that is different and distinct enough from my voice that it was
you're pitched up.
Yeah. That I was like, I don't think it's gonna like be weird for me.
Yeah.
Was it weird though, because you hadn't really been with the cast doing the lines, so it's just like now seeing it all together, you're like, oh, this makes more like.
Yeah,
you know.
it was definitely surreal. I mean, it was a bit like watching. Trying to think of like a good. It was like kind of like watching someone like play just the piano part for a song and being like, that sounds really good, and then you think that's how the song sounds in your head like for a really long time, and then when you hear the whole like an acoustic version and then you hear it put together and you're like, this is a different song, but this slaps. Like it was kind of like that where I was like, this is so different than what I expected, but also exactly what I thought in the best ways. So like that was surreal for sure. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Funny fun fact, Ramsey and I didn't realize it was a kid's show. We literally thought it was an adult.
Sorry, I thought I told you that.
No,
well, I knew it was animation, but I thought it was gonna be like Big Mouth or South Park.
So I watched it,
and then I started and I was like, oh,
we're like, oh,
this is not what I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah. It's it's interesting. I think on like some level it's got the all ages like appeal of like a Steven Universe kind of thing, where it's like it's very wholesome, but it's spooky enough that like. And then I read this really cool interview with our showrunner, and I think maybe one of the writers was talking about it as well, that like there's this kind of complex thing with horror where like sometimes you think it's gonna really spook the young kids, but then it doesn't. But it spooks sort of like the 12-year-olds, and then it kind of, it's almost like a cat falling. Like, you know, if you drop a cat from a certain height, they can like be okay, but you could go lower and kill them because they don't like have time to land on their feet properly or whatever, or brace themselves. It's kind of like that, where like you could like show it to little kids and they'll be like, this rocks, and then show it to like adults and they'll be like, hate that. And my mom is of the hate that with like horror.
Really?
Not, she likes the show, but like doesn't like horror, and she was like, is it all gonna be this scary? And I was like, is it?
Well, I think there's also a way of like, at a certain age you don't understand context for certain things, like, you don't really know what you're looking at, and then you understand it, and then you're like, oh, that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we just kind of knew that the audience was going to be pretty broad for that reason. But
honestly, there's a lot of stuff in there that I was really surprised you guys kind of got away with, like as a kid show. Like there's straight up guns in there, which I didn't think you'd be able to do. Like, and yes, they're not like.
They're blanks.
Yeah, they're blanks, but they're still like guns.
No, I know,
and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
They didn't have to like do that down or anything, or like do squirt guns or something. It was like, I'm actually like if it had like a Y7 rating or something, but I believe it's just Y, right?
I think it's Y7.
Oh, is it Y7? Okay.
But I think that it's a bit because, well, actually it depends. My friend lives in Singapore and it's R21 there, which is pretty insane.
That's
I can't really unpack that, but yeah. So basically, there is more or less like, I think that you get away with more in animation. It's kind of like Big Mouth. Like you could not put to screen anything in Big Mouth in real live action. That you would get taken to jail. But you can do it in Big Mouth because it's animated and it's adults playing the kids, and you kind of get the like suspense of disbelief that like, okay, like these are middle school problems, but clearly adults.
Yeah, for sure. That's cool. And then, did you know that there was going to be like a musical episode? Like when you booked, like, did they tell you that before you booked it?
Well, no. So I got the job.
Sing?
I got the job, and then my agent was like, sounds like they're gonna like put your voice to the use, like, so that's cool. They didn't even like, you know, like I didn't even know it was gonna be musical.
And are you a singer?
I do sing.
Okay.
I like was studying like music industry in college because
Okay.
I had the intention of thinking I was gonna want to make music, and then I took one class and was like, oh, this is boring. I was like, I don't want to do that for a living. It's a very cool industry. I found it fascinating in a lot of ways. It was just not for me.
Yeah.
So I have a music background in some capacity. I'm
Okay.
not like well versed in music theory or anything, but I love to like write little like jingles and stuff, and I used to write music a little bit more generically, and so in that way, yeah. But I don't have like a musical theater background other than high school, and so he was like, they're gonna use you, and I was like, that's cool. And then I found out like everyone else in the cast like had to sing, and I was like, wait a minute. Except for like I think me and Cody maybe weren't. It wasn't specific to that, but like they asked. I know for a fact when they were looking for like the character who plays my love interest, they were like, he has to be able to sing, and I was like, well, nobody did that with me. What if I was bad? You were just gonna put that on TV, like. You were gonna explode, like it would expose me for you know, but yeah, and it just got lucky because I like feel very much like I like singing, so
Yeah.
it was fine.
I
And
just thought it
also,
was
like-
so funny because it was just like one episode.
Yeah.
And I literally thought when it started, I was like, I wonder if they knew they were going to do this.
Yeah.
Like, when they first-
No,
And you know who
everybody's got a
the
pretty good
songwriter is, right? Did you see who the songwriter is?
No, who?
It's Patrick Stump
Yeah,
I don't know.
from Fall Out Boy.
he's the lead
Oh,
singer. Yeah.
Whoa.
So I grew up a huge Fall Out Boy fan,
That's amazing.
which I've kept to myself relatively during this process because I've been like, oh, it would be weird if he understood how big a fan I was. But
Like,
he,
be chill.
I like, yeah, no. So I saw him live as a kid. Like, I was a really big Fall Out Boy fan. I probably know like most of their catalog by heart, like every word. I went to the same high school as him just coincidentally. Not in like a weird way. Like,
You're
I
like,
was
so you're like, this is where he went to high school. This
No,
is
no,
how I'm
This
gonna
is
make
the
it.
seat
No.
that he sat in. It says Patrick Stump was here.
Yeah,
or
it's
it
probably
does
good
now.
you didn't make that known during the process.
So it was just coincidental. I think on some level that's probably why I was such a big fan of him, because I was like, oh, you're from my hometown and you like rose to success, and that's really cool. But anyway, so like when he was working with us, I had to be like, just be a normal Zach.
Yeah.
Because I've worked with lots of people and I've been a little starstruck before, but I think this was the first person I had like a childhood tie to.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I'm actually freaking out. Like I got the email with like the songs and I was like, this sounds like Patrick Stump, but that would be crazy. And then I looked and I was like, oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
So, so Patrick plays Josh,
Yeah.
Okay.
the guy with the pink hat.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's just sort of like a background character, which I think is funny.
Yeah.
Until that episode, and then all of a sudden he comes out with like the craziest pipes ever, and you're
Yeah,
like,
right.
I could sing. Yeah.
That's amazing. I loved the musical episode.
Yeah.
Maybe because just probably
It's
'cause
so it's I watched it this morning. like I was eating breakfast. I'm just gonna put it on because it's so good.
It is. It's so cute. It's
I
so
know, as soon
funny.
as they started singing, I was like, why am I not surprised? I was like, I feel like I knew exactly where this was going.
Yeah.
And it's
But it
just
was
a
really
shock too
fun.
because it's towards the end. It's like the second
Yeah.
to last episode,
Yeah.
right? Or
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like that? Yeah. So it kind of comes out of nowhere. But yeah. Those were all the questions I had about the
Are you?
ADR stuff.
I am talking to you, even though I'm looking at camera.
Okay.
Are you wanting to like continue with animation? Well, I guess 2 questions. What made you audition for this if you've never done animation? Was it something you were already interested in? And are you interested in continuing it now?
Yeah, I had always really, really wanted to do voiceover. I love cartoons. I really like serialized cartoons a lot better than episodic. I love episodic as well. I mean, like, The Simpsons was such a, like, integral part of my childhood. Like, SpongeBob, I love episodic. But I, love a show that does both, kind of. Like, has the capacity to do episodic adventures, kind of Monster of the Week vibes, but still the characters develop, because I love, like, character development as an actor is really exciting. So it was, like, cool to be able to do both. And also, I just really, really like, it's just theater, kind of. Like, you're in a booth by yourself, and they're like, go crazy. And you're like, okay, is this too big? And they said, it's a cartoon, so no. So that was really fun, because you
Yeah,
get
that
to
would
just
be
go
cool.
a little crazy. And I'd always wanted to. I had no clue what it was going to be like, and it was everything I wanted it to be.
Oh, great.
So I would love to continue to do it. It's not the only medium I ever want to work with. I love
Sure.
on camera. I kind of miss getting to do that. so I really hope that's also part of my journey as well. But I think my like ideal career allows me to do both of those things and also maybe a mixed medium. I'm like a huge fan of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and I would really love to mix the art of like animation and live action at some point in my career. So that's like, that would be a huge goal for me as well, as getting to do like a little both in the same project, you know.
I feel like Chip and Dale is Disney testing. It's like, oh, kids cool with Roger Rabbit again?
Yeah.
Because we may bring that back.
Yeah, yeah.
We might bring it back. How long have you been out here in LA?
I came out for school in 2016.
Okay.
Thinking I would study music industry. And then I really struggled. Like, my first year, I had a really hard time making friends. My best friend was out here, which was wonderful.
Oh, that's great.
And highly influenced me coming out here, which is probably not how you should choose your college, but it is what it is. It worked out well. And then my freshman year roommate was, like, this opera singer and really lovely, and we got really close, and she told me about an audition. That's kind of how I actually ended up getting, like, my manager and stuff like that. But yeah, I came out for school and I stayed out, so I guess I've been here like 6 years, which is great. You would really think I would know the city better directionally than I do. I saw a tweet like a year ago that I have saved in my phone for every time I'm late, and it's like, sorry I'm late, I've lived here for 4 years and traffic is the same as it's always been, and I didn't expect that.
Same.
It never gets better.
Yeah.
Literally.
Caleb and I are also really bad at directions, and our favorite is a TikTok that's like, it's when people try to give you directions and they're like, you're going to turn left on this street and right. And you're like, listen, I follow blue line. I go where blue line go. Blue line say turn right, I'm turning right. That's the only way I can get around the city.
Yeah, no, same, yeah.
When my phone died once on the way home and I was like, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. No, I'm highly prepared. I used to carry, like, I had a phone that was, like, super outdated that I could not trade in for... Like, it was so old, I couldn't trade it in. And I used to carry it with me because I was like, worst case scenario, I'll pop my SIM card in here in case I need to get home. Because I know at the very least I could get Google Maps to work. Would I have to sit on the side of the road and wait for it to charge for 8 years because it's been dead for like 5? Yeah, probably. But I am like so afraid of getting stranded. And I'm like, that'll happen if I don't have a map, so.
I mean, you're more prepared with a backup plan than I am, so.
Oh my gosh. I have a question for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was everybody's favorite episode? Dun, dun, dun.
That's an interesting question. I think
this is interesting to do this kind of show on the podcast too, because we haven't done a series yet where, like, obviously it's a cartoon, so it's different, but where it's not like one story. I mean, it is one storyline, but like each episode's like a little bit different, and they're going through different things. So obviously it's
as they do in children's episodes to keep the.
And and we haven't really haven't done a kids thing too, so this has been
animated.
Yeah, this has been an interesting show too. Research and do.
I would say probably the musical one. Mm-hmm. But we just talked about that, so I'm gonna change it up. The next episode that came to mind is the parade of old mascots.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I thought that was very interesting, and that was also one point when I was like, to speak to what you were saying, like younger kids wouldn't be scared, but like the middle age that like understands, I was like, I would be terrified if these mascots, like I was the kid at Disney who was bawling.
Same. That was
instead of hugging the characters, so like that would be me
You're
at
like,
that part.
No.
Yeah. That would have traumatized me as a kid. I never would have gotten over that.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know if I'm ever gonna get over it now, but
But that's fine. Do you have a favorite episode, Zach?
Yeah, okay, so it's really hard, right?
I know.
Right. Because they're all pretty solid.
Yeah. I really like some of my favorites are. I almost just listed 6 of them. So let me. I can whittle it down to 3. I think. Like I really like the episode where we do the game show because like I love that kind of shit like a lot. Like I love like we're doing like a thing that we do in the real world, but we're doing it in hell kind of thing. It's so fun to me. But from like a acting perspective, it was really fun to do the Pauline Phoenix experience because I got to do a bunch of voices, and it's also like a highly emotional episode. And then but like as a viewer, I think probably like the Fear episode, which is Trust Me, is really good because I just really love what they do with Norma's arc in that episode. Like I thought it was a really amazing representation of what I've seen. A lot of people online who are neurodivergent really identify with it, but also people with like social anxiety, and I think it really captures that, and then I also think wait time 22 minutes is a really, really fun episode. Yeah, because I love like things that play with like body switching and stuff like that. So
What?
I love
That was funny.
Stop it.
That's not.
inherently trans experience of body switching. Yeah, okay, Ben, we get it. Maybe so. But yeah, I was like, I have always wanted to, my writing partner and I want to write like a body swapping kind of like, not even like a fun one, like a horror kind of like hive mind sort of movie at some point. And like, I just like love stuff like that. It like it's like eerie, but I also find it really like, you learn so much about yourself when you're expressing yourself differently. So I have always really like I've dug that for a long time. What are your...
I do love the musical episode, but honestly, my favorite moment in the show is probably from, I believe it's from Paranormal Detective.
Yeah.
When Barney is talking to his parents over dinner.
Oh yeah.
Because so essentially, you know, in the series, Barney has had like a falling out with his grandma, who I think it's like heavily implied that she's pretty intolerant of Barney's identity, and he's struggling with his parents because they didn't like defend him when that kind of happened. And what I really like about it is it subverts a trope that I've always hated, which is you just kind of let people off the hook for things. And I think it holds the parents accountable in a way that's not only very realistic, but like also helpful. Because I think that a trap that we like creators often fall in when dealing with this sort of thing is they go in too hard and they're like, okay, I'm going to not shy away from this, right? And I'm going to tell the real story and I'm going to get into the nitty gritty, but it usually just becomes like, oh, this is just very traumatic and triggering for anyone going through it. Yeah. And it's just like way too much, but they kind of pull it back in a way that's like, it's a conversation that if you know, you get it. Yeah. And if you don't know, it sort of gives you a new perspective of, it's not as simple as like, he just like goes off and he yells at them or they, you know, kind of get it, but it's like kind of that passive aggressive sort of talking. And it delves into that conversation of it's not just like hateful bigotry that trans people have to deal with. It's also people who are silent about it. And acceptance is not the same as support. And understanding the difference, I think, is a subtle way. Is like the show's way that they just like nailed it on the head of like, no, that's it. That's finally like in a way that I didn't even think I knew how to express before. But of, you know, they even say it like, we accepted you. It's like, no, that's not enough. Like you have to support me. And I like that at the end of the show, when he's like, oh, well, I'll come home. It's like, no, you don't have to. Like we have work to do, and we're willing to put in that work, which I thought was just so important and is like an actual good, like a helpful message, you know, like, because oftentimes I went to this side note, but I promise it's sort of related. I went to this short film festival one time, and there was like 6 films, and 5 of them were about some sort of sexual assault. And not only is that just like a very hard night to get through, all of them basically said, sexual assault is bad, and we condemn it. But like, yeah, thanks. You know, it's like that did not help us with it. It doesn't deal with like the nuance of it or like how we like deal with it as a society or like the uncomfortable nature of it, like calling anyone out specifically. Like, so when it calls out the things that are actually helpful for people to like understand and change that they don't genuinely think about, like we have misunderstandings about, I think that's just so cool. And I think the show tackled it like magnificently. Yeah.
Well, I that's all credit to like the writers. Jen Bartikoff, who wrote the episode where with the kids, the Night of the Living Kids, where they get the sleep sucked out of them, and also co-wrote the musical episode. I really love the episode with the kids because it's about Barney like letting down his like little brother, and I think that so often the way that they like demonize a character as being like, and I've seen like people online talking about like, is Barney ungrateful? And it's like, obviously not. Like lots of people really identified with what you said, and I obviously do, but it doesn't make him flawless. Like the way he's flawed is, you abandon your brother. Like when you do an action, even if it's in self-protection, you're doing an action, and that has ripple effects, and one of those effects is leaving your little brother with parents who might not be the most accepting, and like that's really tough, and maybe there's accountability. So I have always really loved that episode as well. So, I don't know, like, I think there's something interesting because it does feel like there's sort of a nuance of you can do things in service of yourself and maybe you are even right to do them or it's just, but they're
gonna have repercussions.
Yeah, and I think like nobody's perfect, let alone a 16-year-old kid.
Exactly. Yeah.
So he didn't know. He didn't do it and think, oh, I'm gonna be screwing my little brother over. He was like, I'm taking care of myself, and that's important. And that's how 16-year-olds think. Yeah.
Right. I feel like they definitely showed like multiple sides of that dice, which it was impressed with in a lot of aspects of this show, is how many sides of that coin they can show. It being a children's show.
I was gonna say I don't watch a lot of kids animation shows, obviously, just in general, but I haven't seen one like this at all. Like that tackles all of these things and is funny and is serious and is also, showing the different sides, like we were saying, of situations like what Barney's going through, which I thought was super cute.
But like, and then on the flip side, you're right. It's genuinely so funny. Like, it's such a funny show. I was laughing out loud so much and like so hard throughout it. And so it's like, it's nice that obviously it's nice when you cover these important issues, but like on the other side, it's not always serious, and like it's funny. I told Zach when Barney throws that dog at Nora, and I thought there was gonna be like he was gonna do a trick and like he throws it at the back of her head, and then she just falls down. I almost fell out of my chair. It was so funny.
It's really funny. Yeah, I think it's a really, really fun show. So I'm obviously very biased, but
And the dog being possessed was just so funny too to me throughout the whole show. It's just like to think about a pug being just like
and Alex Brightman is so talented. They weren't even like sure they were gonna have the same person play the demon and the dog. And then he just came along and they were like, well, that fixes that. Like, we're getting Beetlejuice to do it because he's Broadway's Beetlejuice. And he just can do that with his voice and be fine, unlike anyone else in the population. So he's just really talented. I was saying to Ben yesterday I would have killed to be in the recording studio when he did his song, because I'm desperately curious about whether or not he did both parts at once. But just being able to go back and forth between those characters is like, even if you did them in two parts, it takes a lot of skill. So
oh my gosh, amazing. Sure. I thought everybody did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall I thought it was such a cute show and it has such a good message, and I don't know if you're allowed to say, or are you guys picked up for season 2? Unsure, not allowed to say.
I'm unsure.
Unsure, okay. Well, I hope that you are.
Google just says season 1 everywhere, which it typically doesn't say if there's no chance of season 2.
What do you mean?
Like when you're doing research, everything specifies season 1.
Yeah.
Which, if it's not picked up, if there's no chance of it being picked up, they just say dead in Paranormal Park.
Got it.
I mean, at the very least, you've set up a season 2.
Yeah.
So I'm sure a season 2 exists, or like there is plans for it. Now, whether or not it gets bought, that's the question.
They're probably waiting to see
how this does. Yeah. We're number 5 on kids though.
Number 5 on kids.
I keep joking that we're coming for Coco Melon. Just some show on Netflix that I know every kid fucking loves, and I'm like, we will get you,
let me
Coco
say,
Melon.
As a former nanny, this is way better than Coco Melon.
I would have rather watched this.
Stimulating, Now, one of my favorite things right now is seeing like true children watching it, because that is who it is intended for.
Right.
I am like so delighted when someone's like, look at my niece, like watching the show, and I'm like, thank God you're new. Because like a lot of the people I'm seeing online do it, I really love and respect, and I'm glad they're watching it. But I'm like, it is for children, and I want them to also watch it.
Right.
I think it would have been really neat.
Not just gay adults who
no,
have
exactly.
children, who had their childhood sucked away from
gay
trauma.
adults who are emotionally stunted, didn't get to watch TV of themselves and might attend a kissing party.
Right.
That type of adult.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching it, and I thought obviously you did an amazing job.
Thank you so much.
Everybody did so good. I mean, Emily Osment too. Just blew my mind because I didn't know it all.
Emily Osment, but
I really like how excited she is on social media, because there's a part of me that's like, she probably has the most credits of between her and Alex and stuff in our show outside of guest stars, because we've had some really, really we had Alan Cumming and MJ Rodriguez and Angelica Ross and a couple other really cool guest stars, but in the main cast, they're sort of the two most probably have had the longer careers, and I just seeing like how excited she is publicly about it is so cool, because to me it's like, this was everything. Like, I love this show, and she's got a couple projects she's working on, so it's like really neat that she cares about it and enjoyed playing the character. And I think that's actually one of the reasons she got the job over some people, was she was like die hard for it and like really excited
Love
about it.
that.
That's
Which
what I
is
was
how it
told,
should be.
but
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I was
Which
told
is
by
how it
some of
should
the folks that were involved in the process. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Anyway,
I mean, it's definitely doing something. Like, it's not just
There.
random
Yeah.
anime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, I can see definitely why it was like a project that her or anyone would be excited about, because it's unique for sure.
Yeah.
Well, again, and it's got purpose and it's got heart, and like the comedy is smart and it's intentional. Because and I'm not trying to throw any other kid shows out of the bus, current SpongeBob, but so
Current SpongeBob. We're just gonna current.
so much of it is just like chaos and craziness, and I think that's older people misunderstanding what young people like because they don't understand kids' humor. It's like, oh, well, just kids' humor makes no sense, so we'll just make our kids' humor make no sense. And it's like, no, you just don't understand it, and that's fine because it's hard to keep up with children's humor. But like, if you just write good comedy, I think it's just a universal language sometimes.
Yeah.
Everybody loves comedy.
Yeah.
You know, everyone loves to laugh.
But
And
not
if you don't
everybody
like
can
laugh-
do it. Is
Yeah,
the thing.
that's the problem. Is not
Everybody loves
can
comedy,
do
but
it.
not
I
everybody
keep
understands
telling
comedy.
Ben that. No, I'm just kidding. No, unfortunately, Ben is really funny, and I hate it. It's like the bane of my existence.
That is honestly the type of funny that I strive to be, is spitefully funny, where people are like,
I guess you're
I have
funny.
to admit it, you are funny.
The person that comes to mind when you say that is Zach Campa. Should we do ratings corner?
Ratings corner.
We have some different categories a little bit because
this, like I said, this show
it's not live action. But the script / screenplay.
I gave it a 7.5.
I gave it an 8.5.
I rate it as well.
Yeah.
I
Out of
mean,
10.
just like I'm gonna say a 10. I
can rate it whatever
really,
you want.
I can't. I love the writers a lot. So
I gave it an 8.
Nice.
I wanted to give it higher, but I didn't want to feel like I was being nepotistic.
Fair.
Animation.
I gave it an 8.5. I don't really know how to
Rank animation.
Yeah,
I gave it a 7 for the same reason, because I was like,
nothing's bad
you
about
don't
it.
know
It's
what
good
that
animation.
means. I have no.
These are your categories.
Bro, I know.
You made these up.
I understand.
You didn't have to
because
do
like
these.
what else was I supposed to talk about? Okay, but here's the thing. I know nothing about animation. Like, absolutely nothing.
So animation blows my mind. I mean, I don't know how they.
I
do it
thought you were
now.
just gonna say, so animation blows. Like,
Animation blows, just in general. No, like how they used to do it. It was obviously like drawings, and they would just like flip through. Like that's crazy. And then like now it's all. I don't know if they still do drawings and then just do it on the computer, and it's got to take forever.
Yeah,
right.
There's so many people that touch it.
gosh.
Without going into too much detail, I follow a lot of the like story designers and like location designers, and just I don't even know all their job titles because there's so many that are like really cool. But there's this person, Domreen, who I follow, who worked on the show, that did is largely responsible for constructing the park, and it is like a fully functioning park. They know where everything is. Like,
that's
all the backgrounds, like, it's really neat. So, like, I don't know. So that's some of the interesting stuff is, like, you don't see it all, but I was like, that's crazy. I wish I could go to Phoenix parks now. Because, like, it actually looks really cool when you realize they did the whole thing, you know?
I mean, it definitely helps that it feels like a complete world.
Yeah.
And, and you don't,
100%.
you can just kind of step into it.
Okay.
And it feels very cohesive.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll change my score to an 8.5.
I gave it a 9.
Fair.
Okay.
Zach gives it a 10.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Zach's just gonna get 10
Unfortunately,
down the
that's
board.
gonna be
so.
10s down the board. I know. It sounds biased, but I will say I have seen so many actors not love the projects they're in, and I will say I'm very grateful that I from the bottom of my heart, honest to God, believe the things I'm saying.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that stinks when someone doesn't like it.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
What is the is it the Mindy Kaling thing? She's like, oh my God, I love it.
Character development.
9.
I give that a 9 as well.
8.5.
There were some really great arcs in. I like that everybody got their own little arc, you know?
Yeah.
Because even at the end, like, Pugsley gets a little arc, and then Barney has his arc. And
they
Mona
have
has
like
her
an
arc.
episodic arc and
an overall
Like an
arc.
overall
Yeah.
arc. Yeah. Which is really great.
and talent.
9.
10. I did give that one a 10.
I gave it an 8.5, but I did consider giving it 10 because Zach is here.
I really respect that. I really, really, from the bottom of my heart, respect that.
And overall score?
8.5.
9 overall.
I gave it 8 overall.
Nice.
And Zach obviously gave it a 10.
I don't want to shock anybody, but I did give it a 10.
And then Rotten Tomatoes doesn't have they don't have
critic
a score.
Only 4 critics have rated it.
Yeah. So critics don't have a score, but the audience scores a 78, or was today when I checked.
Yeah, I also checked it.
And then IMDb, when I checked, was 6.5.
Same.
Which
I thought was low for IMDb, but
I don't know. Sometimes we don't understand the ratings that the IMDb and Rotten
Well,
Tomatoes have.
yeah. So it's interesting. I've learned a little bit about this. It's all who votes and how it's all ranked out is a little complex. So like, it's weighted, and then also if you don't have an account, I don't know if you can vote. I don't really know.
I don't think I have. I have an IMDb Pro account, but I don't know that I ever rated anything.
But anyway, I will say, like, I think it's been nice to get warm reception, but I know that we're like.
Well, I was telling Zach that I think the only people who are watching it, aside from kids, are gay adults with stunted childhoods and transphobes. So I feel like it's just like there are people who love it and people who are like, this is indoctrination of our kids. So I don't know how much of that is just people like just bringing it down because of that.
That was my one I'm really excited what this show's doing. Obviously, like I said, my one big thought as I was watching it was that Texas did just make a law like 2 weeks ago, because I was livid when I saw it, that like outlawing drag queens anywhere near children's events, because somehow that's gonna scar them for the rest of their lives.
Right.
And so I know that there's some kids who are gonna turn this show on and their Karens of a mom are gonna lose their goddamn mind, and they're all located in the Bible Belt. I know for a fact.
Yeah, which is disappointing, to say the least.
So,
but
I bet you're right. I bet it's people like that are being like, fuck this. Well, fuck you.
You also don't trust IMDb because of Cyrano, right?
Rotten Tomatoes.
Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
We don't like Rotten Tomatoes because of Cyrano.
Cyrano.
See? We'll never get over it.
Touchy subject.
You brought up sore past.
No, I was thinking about it the other day because I just brought it up as a joke, and then our friend Aaron was like, I like Cyrano.
Yeah, Ben texted us after that episode and was like, "You guys ripped that apart."
I was
kidding.
kidding. Like, I hope you know that I was 100% kidding.
But yeah, each their own. Some people might love this movie, and that's okay.
Cyrano?
Yeah.
No, if you love it, you're wrong.
Did you hear that, Aaron?
Sorry, Aaron. I've never met you, but when you meet me, just
don't say anything about it.
Okay. Well, again, thank you both for coming.
Yeah, thank you
for having us.
Do you want to say, like, where to find you, social handles, stuff like that?
Yeah, so I am on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram at KoreanBeef27. Zach and I are doing a couple of stand-up shows coming up in August.
Oh, great.
The second at so if you're in LA, and you can go to my socials. I don't have tickets updates right now because I'm still putting these shows together. But August 2nd, I'm going to be at Flappers Comedy Club doing a show, and August 7th, I'm going to be at Dow Comedy Club doing a show. And Zach's going to open for both of those, and I'm going to do a full hour for those comedy specials.
Oh my gosh.
That's so exciting!
We will remind our listeners as well when they come up.
And if you want to see your famous podcast host,
they're going to do a podcast in the audience as I do the show. And they're going to be like, ratings quarter, as I'm trying to finish up.
Zach?
Yeah, I mean, aside from those comedy shows I have with Ben, I will just plug this audiobook I just did, because if you are listening to this because you like Dead End, then it is for you. It is like a young adult young adult romance book written by Mason Deaver, who wrote hits like I Wish You All the Best. Sorry, I almost just said the name of the book I did. The one I did is called The Feeling of Falling in Love. It doesn't benefit me financially for anybody to read it. I just like really loved the book and like had a lot of fun doing the audiobook, and then you can hear my little voice. And then follow me on Instagram and Twitter. That's usually where I post updates about work. And so that's how I'll share things when I'm allowed to share them. My Instagram and Twitter are both Zach Barack, ZachBarack. Yeah.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Thank you both.
And our next show is TBD.
Yeah, it's really popular on streaming on Netflix. No, I'm just kidding. We don't know what it is because Kaylin's about to go out of town, and then I didn't respond to your text, but I'm going out of town basically when you get back. So
Perfect.
So Zach and I will be doing the podcast next week.
yeah, we're gonna guest host.
We're gonna host it.
ruin your whole thing that you made. Just get on and be like, just spew vitriol. Like.
The Black Phone, though, we're not doing an episode on it because we are going to be out of town, but it does come out this Friday, June 24th.
I'm very excited.
So we'll talk about that when we get back briefly at the beginning. Other than that, follow us on Insta, Credit Crawl, and rate us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all the things. And other than that, we will see you later.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Can Barney say goodbye?
Oh, God.
Do it!
Okay. Bye.